Every time I walk on stage, I'm like, do I deserve to be here? The population has spoken and said, we think you're pretty good at this. I just think I have to get to a point where I believe it.
But that's why people are drawn to you. It's not the perfect version. It's the version that's humble enough to say, I am on the way and I probably always will be.
How's your life? I'm like, it's Mach 12. As busy as my schedule is, I have to carve out intentional time with each child. They don't need you to take them to Disney World. They just need to see your eyes when you talk.
That's your gift. If anything, it's a superpower.
Being married is hard. Being a father is hard.
It's the most humbling thing in the world.
But it is so fun to live a life with someone that is so opposite. Like how I would love to view life that way.
What's the benefit and what's the challenge?
When I love something, I go all in on it. I finally had to ask myself the question, like, what is a hit? Is it a number one on the radio? Did it go viral on TikTok? For me on this project, it's like, is it going to resonate with someone's soul?
You've got this natural gift in being able to go all in on something, but often it's very difficult to turn it off.
Well, why would I even play if I can't be great at it?
You are not what you do. There is something greater than you that loves you unconditionally, and you're enough.
We've been taught everything except how to be human. I'm Miles Adcox, and this podcast turns raw experience into practical wisdom. So if you're ready to stop performing your life and start participating in it, you're in the right place. This is Human School.
I've known our guest today for quite some time. In my world, he isn't the guy standing in front of sold-out arenas or the voice coming through as a number one song on radio. He's just a guy who shows up. He's the friend who is constantly wrestling with how to be a better version of himself than he was yesterday. He spent his life under a bright spotlight, and sure, he's checked every box you're supposed to check in his industry. Dozens of number one hits and enough awards to fill a room. But the thing I've always admired most about him has nothing to do with the stage. What I see in him, what I've experienced in him over the years, is a rare kind of intentionality. He is a man who is deeply committed to the quiet work. He's a guy who navigates the beautiful, loud chaos of being a husband and a father to 4 daughters and now a son, with a heart that is always wide open. He's a fixer by nature, someone who instinctively wants to solve the problem and make it right. But he's done the hard work, soulful work of learning when to stop fixing and start just being present in the mess. He has this incredible way of making a massive life feel small and intimate, choosing to stay tethered to the people and the values that actually matter. He's a songwriter, a seeker, and above all else, a truly good man who I'm proud to call a friend. Please welcome to Human School my buddy, Thomas Rhett.
What's up, man?
Welcome, buddy.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. It's hard to get through right out of the gate. I felt like that kid in 3rd grade who couldn't read in front of the class.
Right. I still feel that way, man.
Right out of the gate on a Monday morning. Well, dude, I'm glad to see you.
Me too, man. Thanks for
having
having
me.
me.
It took lights and microphones to get us together to catch up, but I'll take it.
I know it. I know. Two busy schedules. We gotta get back out riding those horses too at some point.
Yeah, we do. There's a lot to catch up on, which I'm excited to do with you. And I saw this morning you pull in right when I did.
Yep.
And I noticed I kind of laughed a little bit because I hadn't seen you in a while, and I know you're kind of a truck guy.
Yeah.
Meaning you find your trucks are fun for you, and you're always in a new one. And then I'm in one of your old trucks because it was too big to park in a garage. Was your reason?
And then I got one bigger than that one.
For your reason selling it to me, and I look at my rearview mirror and I was like, I think you just pulled in a bigger truck than the one I got from him.
I know. Yeah, Green Hills is off limits for me.
Yeah.
Can't go there.
But I could see why you're in Ford now, that new song out. But also, I love that ironically, that's the one. Is it a King Ranch?
King Ranch, yeah.
Dog, that's what I want.
It's fun. Lauren the other day said, I wish that you would just drive like just a normal dad truck.
Yeah.
And I think what she meant by that is like, why do you have to lift? Why do you have to put huge tires? Why do you have to have a winch? Why do you have to have a toolbox? Why do you have to have 2 gunner kennels at the back? And I'm like, I don't know. I've been a truck guy for as long as I can remember, and anytime I've ever gotten a truck, the first thing I do is go straight and put a leveling kit on it.
Get it geared out.
Gear it out.
You're a gear guy.
I'm a gear guy.
Why do you think you nerd out on all that stuff?
I don't know. I've always been like anything that I put my mind to, I sort of become, I won't say a master at whatever it is, but I would like to, I put these like kind of like levels in all of my different hobbies, whether it's been skiing or fly fishing was the biggest one for me. I remember me and Lauren, right before I played a bunch of shows in Australia, we did like 8 or 9 days in New Zealand, and it was my very first time fly fishing with her. And so when I got home for my birthday that year, she got me, all the like the Sims pack and the Sims waiter, and a Scott rod and an Able reel. And I think my mind just, when I love something, I go all in on it. So, I mean, hunting for sure. I mean, you should see my camo closet. I mean, I could outfit 70 people, I think, with my camouflage closet. Every pattern, all the boots, knee high, ankle high. Like, I love diving headfirst into the thing that I love. So.
And you've always been that way?
Always been that way.
Yeah.
Even from, I mean, I can remember being 12 years old, skateboarding was really cool when I was 12. And so diving into watching a whole bunch of skateboarding videos and going to the skate shop and picking different wheels and picking different bearings and picking the right grip tape and all that kind of stuff. I've just always been a guy that I just love gear. And I love to know about it. So
I do too, and I'm a hobbyist.
Yes, we share that.
I don't know, and I do go all in on certain hobbies, but in some cases I'll get average at all of them and never grade at any of them.
Yeah,
because I'm always looking for the next one or what I'm enjoying.
For sure.
What's the one that's top of the food chain for you right now? I know you've been playing a lot of golf.
Yeah, right now it'd probably be golf.
Yeah,
golf and hunting for sure, but obviously it's seasonal. And we love duck hunt, and I love to deer hunt. But those are only a couple months out of the year. But golf is something that you can kind of do all year round. And just to make my hobby more addictive, I actually put a simulator in my house.
Did you? Where?
Downstairs in our little gym area.
That's a perfect spot for it because you had room there.
And so after the kids have gone to bed for the last 5 nights, I've just gone down and just asking, Chat GBT and all this kind of stuff. Like, hey, here's my spin rate, here's my apex, here's my launch angle, here's my face angle and my path. And I love diving into the science. Like, have you ever watched any of Bryson DeChambeau's stuff? Like how much of a nerd he is about golf, and he cut all of his irons to the same length. And I just think it's so fascinating to watch these pros about how ridiculously smart they are about grass and elevation and wind and all the things. And so that simulator has taken my hobby to
the next level,
to a new height. I love it.
I got to come see it, and I got to talk to you about what you got, because I'm building a barn right now that I was going to put a simulator in, but they're across the board in terms of quality and price and everything. It's hard to know.
They are. I got the Full Swing set up. Full Swing is the brand, but TrackMan kind of was the one that started it all off. It's really good. And then there's one that I went to the Masters last year and played at the Delta event, and they had this other brand called HD Golf, I think is what it was, and if you're on a lie, the actual mat will raise it or lower you. And there's sort of real sand, green sand, fairway sand, or fairway bunker, decent rough, thick rough, and then turf. And I would say that is the most detailed and the most styled. But Full Swing is fun. It's got games for the kids too. They can kick soccer ball at it and all that kind of mess. But it's a blast.
Speaking of Masters too, you just recorded for the Masters. That was incredible.
It was so cool, man. Charles Kelly did it. Kane Brown did it. Noah Kahn did it. It's kind of become a trend for artists to do sort of their rendition of Georgia. And for me, being from Valdosta, Georgia, really South Georgia, it was just a huge honor. Also a little bit terrifying, even though Ray Charles didn't write and originally record that song.
It?
Well, who wrote the original Georgia?
Somebody find that.
His guitar player, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, someone sent me the vinyl the other day that was the original. We'll find it.
That is such a legendary song.
And
I usually so affiliated with him because he sang the crap out of it. But for some reason, I thought he wrote it too.
No, he did not write it. But obviously, his is the most famous version of that song. And so when you're trying to be in the studio, trying to do anything remotely as good as Ray Charles would have done it, it's just a little bit scary.
It's a little intimidating.
It's a little bit scary. But it was good. Julian produced it. My band played on it, which was really special. I remember just watching, some of the commercials for the Masters and hearing your voice while you're watching Scotty hit or Rory hit, and it's kind of just droning through Amen Corner and up Magnolia Lane. It's just it's a pretty surreal feeling.
Jim Nance probably leading it in.
Jim Nance, probably one of the coolest things I've gotten to do in my career.
It got my attention.
Yeah,
when you do, as I said in the intro, I kind of know you as a regular guy
for sure.
And then sometimes I look up and I was like, oh yeah, wait, he's a global superstar that does all these interesting things.
That was very, very cool though, and such a huge honor.
What number are you playing at now?
I'm playing an 8.
What?
Playing at an 8.
No wonder you've gotten obsessed with it.
Yeah. Should be a 6.
Well, you cut your number in half since I played with you. And that's only been a few years ago.
Yeah. Every time I get on the golf course, man, I feel like I need a mental coach.
Yeah.
I would say that for me, how much of a basket case I can be with anything.
Well, same with me.
But man, I could be I was out at Richland the other day playing, and I shot like a 37 on the front nine, and I was just like, this is about to be the most epic round of my entire life. And then I get to 10, triple bogey.
Blew it up.
Get to 11, triple bogey. And it's almost like your brain goes, you can't do this now because you've messed up, which is probably how I treat failure. You know what I'm saying? Like even from a young age, like I've always been just super critical and super hard on myself, which is probably why I love golf so much, is because it is the unmasterable game. You know what I mean? Like even the pros, there's part of me, I mean, I love watching pros play well, but there's also a part of me that even loves more when they mess up to watch how they
respond,
how they recover from that. Yeah. Was it Ted Lasso where he said, be a goldfish?
Yeah.
You know that? I'm not a great goldfish.
Yeah.
I'm a great keeper of my failure and all that kind of stuff, but actively working through it, trusting the process.
You must be with an 8. That's an impressive. I mean, that's really good. I'm probably
it's so fun.
Did I tell you I joined the club below your farm finally?
The golf club.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I finally got in it. I've been wanting to do that. It's been a dream for a long time.
Absolutely.
To me, I love, I mean, there's great courses in Tennessee, but that is quintessential Middle Tennessee.
Unbelievable.
It's just every vantage point, every view, I feel like I'm escaping into somewhere else.
100%.
It's the first time I've played golf that it felt like hunting to me.
100%.
Because I go to the woods to disappear.
Well,
I mean, hunting is just part of it, but I really go for peace.
Yeah, totally.
And I found that at that golf club.
That upper course is tough.
Oh my goodness. I've only played it one time,
Same.
and I probably won't play it again for a while until my game gets tuned up a little bit, because it was humbling.
It's
I mean,
hard.
I lost I think 4 balls the first
all
3
the
holes.
all the drop offs, like where you have to be. Yeah, it's a tough little track.
But the low course I absolutely love, and I thought about you the other day because I've been going out there in the afternoons and getting 9 or 10 or 11 in, and been taking Maverick, trying to get him into it. They're going to do
Does he like it?
I can't tell yet.
Yeah.
He's going to be a little bit like me and you. Frankly, he's a multi-hobbyist.
Yeah.
He likes just about anything he tries.
For sure.
But he's not, whereas you'll lock in on it for a while, he's more like he wants to bring a football when we play.
Yeah.
And so he's running patterns by the 4th hole.
Right.
And he'll swing and he wants me to pass him.
Yeah,
and
for
the whole
sure.
deal. Tell me about the mental side of the game. I saw, and I wish I could recall it, but I've got the Monday morning cobwebs, so I probably won't be able to. I may pull it up. It was that poignant to me. It was kind of cool, but I'm getting back into it, because I love competition. I love sports, but I like the mental stimulation, and you kind of leaned that way earlier. But I heard Nick Saben say something about it the other day. He's a big golfer and loves golf. I'm going to pull it up actually in just a minute. But the mental side of that game, of everything that we do, hunting, fishing, all of it, even fly fishing, it all has mental stimulation. But there's something about that one that requires critical thought, like what you're describing, and then it requires you to turn it off and to get into rhythm and tempo.
Totally.
Which to most days seems impossible.
Yeah.
It's such an interesting bridge to try to cross.
It is, man. And like, I feel like I've been fortunate enough to, not become like great buddies, but just decent buddies with a couple of pro players. And I was actually out playing in a little kind of Ryder Cup style deal a couple months ago, and there's a pro golfer by the name of Ben Crane. You ever heard of Ben? Ben Crane?
Of course, yeah.
He's crushing right now, by the way. He's like finished top 10 in the last 2 tournaments. Anyway, we were out there and he was playing with me, and he watched me play a few good holes, and then he was actively watching me fall apart. And I remember standing over this 4-foot putt, and when you're already putting for 5 on a par 3, my brain just goes, why don't we just go back to the clubhouse? You know what I mean? Like it's almost like, and I see this in my daughter Ada James too, where like she plays softball, and if she strikes out, she's just like, well, why would I even play if I can't be great at it? You know what I mean? And I kind of have a little bit of that, which is probably what drives me so much, because it's like I can't stop until I've reached my level of quote unquote perfection. But I'm standing over this 4-foot putt, and I look at Ben and I said, I'm going to miss this. And he was like, it's that right there. He pointed at me. He was like, that's your biggest problem in this game. He was like, what if you retrained your brain to say, wouldn't it be cool if I made this putt? You know what I mean? Wouldn't it be cool, like even if you're on the tee box, wouldn't it be cool if I hit the exact little 5-yard draw that I plan on hitting in my mind? You know what I mean? And even if it doesn't happen, you at least set your body and your mind up to maybe make it. But if you sit there and you go, I'm going to miss this putt, probably 98% chance you're actually going to miss the putt, and then you're going to carry it on to the next deal. And like golf to me is so much like life, and I could carry it on into my parenting. I could carry it on into my marriage. I could carry it into my work for sure. I'm sort of like the kind of guy that like, I think I just want everything to be how I dreamed it would be or how I planned it would be. And so like if we've got a tour on sale and, the Thursday night is sold out, but the Friday night is struggling and the Sunday night is sold out, it's almost like I can't even take Friday and Sunday for the wins that they are because Saturday is not sold out. Does that make sense? And so like in a way, like I walk onto the stage sometimes like feeling defeated before I've even walked out there. You know what I mean? I'm looking at my band and I'm like, they're like, are you pumped up? I'm like, yeah, I'm all right. You know what I mean? And I'm the leader. I'm the leader of this thing. And they're watching their leader just be throwing this pity party in some type of way. And so I've really, really had to work hard at, even when the circumstances are not how I thought they would be, I get to, somebody said today, it's like, don't talk, what'd they say? Don't talk to yourself. I will think of that. But it's like how you speak to your own self is so important. And I'm such a horrible self-talker of myself. Working on it actively, but like changing that thought process to, you know what? The right people are here tonight. Well, that frames it so differently than it's not sold out. Does that make sense?
Totally.
So
well, and I've always experienced you that way in our friendship over the years. I would say you're a critical thinker with a bit of an obsessive loop. Sometimes you'll get really looped on a particular problem you're trying to solve.
Yeah.
I complimented you on that because there's a good side to it.
Sure.
When I read you in the beginning, what I wrote about you, because it's a great tool when you need it.
Yeah.
When you can go all in on something. It's what
For
makes you one of the best songwriters that's ever been in this town, and on and on and on. We could say other things. It's also going to be what's going to make you a great dad and all the things you'll get obsessive about. And then it's got the shadow side that we can lock in on a problem that we have very little control over and can't solve. And as you said, that noise can get so loud that we can't hear the winds around us.
100%.
And you and I've had several conversations over you, and that's one of the reasons I brought up golf and camped out there for a minute, because it is the most metaphorical game that I've ever played that parallels life in such a beautiful way. And interestingly enough, it's where a lot of sports, where psychology entered sports, that's kind of where it started.
Yes.
Is golf. Most golfers, sports psychology is not foreign to them.
Yeah.
They have studied the mental side of the game. Most. I'd
Yeah.
say the 90% I've talked to have studied the mental side of the game. Whereas if you get into the NFL and MLB and others, it's trending.
Sure.
It's just starting to become important to where you might have a therapist or a life coach in tow. Golf, it's been around since the origin.
Yeah.
And when you start playing it, you completely understand why.
Yes.
It's the most humbling thing in the world.
I know.
Very little control. But also, you've got to critically think and understand the mechanism of how to do it. And then you got to let all that go in the moment.
Yeah.
How does that apply to parenting to you?
For some reason, this commercial was playing back in my mind. Do you remember this Tiger Woods Nike commercial from back in, like, I think it was 96? And it's Tiger standing in front of the camera. He's like, golf's super easy. Take the club back, swing, hit. There you go. And then they do all the bloopers, and it's like, make sure your shoulder doesn't tilt, make sure your hips turn at the right pace, and make sure your face angles. Have you seen this commercial?
I don't know. Somebody pull it up.
It's like,
I got to see it.
he basically, like, the first part of the commercial is like, golf is super easy. And then he goes through his entire thought press before he's swinging, and it basically is showing the person watching, like, you can't be great unless you do this as much as I do this. What was your question? But
It wasn't, well, yeah, what it was, I was segueing golf to family or parenting. But before we get there, I pulled this up. But listen to what Saben says about this.
You feel good?
Yeah, I'm playing a lot of golf.
How's the game?
Nice. Yeah.
Sometimes good, sometimes bad, man.
Yeah,
That's
but
a metaphor of life, that game. I mean, you hit a good shot, you got to deal with success. You hit a bad shot, you got to deal with failure and focus on the next shot. And if you don't focus on every shot, you get punished. I mean, it's the damnedest thing.
Right. That's golf, baby. Right.
That's golf football, baby. Yep. That is golf football. What's bad for you? What's bad? You said some days good, some days bad. What's bad?
Oh, well, some days I can't putt. Some days I can't hit it straight off the tee. What do you mean?
80? Bad?
I've shot my age 3 times.
When's the most recent time?
You shot 68 recently?
About a week ago.
Anyway, I just love the way he said that.
100%. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad.
Yeah, you're either dealing with, and I've never heard anybody frame it to where if you hit a good shot, you got to deal with success.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting, and
100%.
I've learned it, and we were about to segue into parenting. Did you find the Tiger Woods ad? Yeah, let me see it real quick. You got it. Or flip it around. I can watch it from there.
Have you seen this, Harry? It's awesome.
And now, golf's not hard with Tiger Woods and the Air Zoom T-Range.
Too many people overcomplicate the golf swing. Today, we're going to make it simple. First, place the ball off the inside of your left heel. Second, bend your knees slightly. And finally, keep the left arm straight. Voila, you're on your way to a better golf swing. Of course, you also want to maintain the triangle too, and lead with your hips. And other than taking the club back low and slow, that's all there is to it. As long as you allow your weight to shift to the inside of your right foot and keep the club face square and your left heel planted and the V between your thumb and forefinger pointing to your right shoulder and the club grip gently like a wounded bird and your left shoulder under your chin, allowing your hands to rotate through the impact area and maintaining a stable lower body position while finishing with your belt buckle facing the target with your rear elbow hinge. That should help take the mystery out of the golf swing. This is Tiger Woods reminding you that we can all be better.
That's awesome.
Oh, got to bring that back.
It's so good.
And I was about to talk about parenting because I think I've got, we started at a similar time, but you've continued to add to your herd or flock or whatever you want to call them. Just brought in number 5, but what we're talking about, which is you've got this natural gift in being able to go all in on something, but often it's very difficult to turn it off when you're obsessed about the hard parts of that challenge.
Yeah.
And you get wrapped up in it. How has it benefited you as a dad, and how might it be challenging you as a dad?
I'll start with the ways I think it's benefited me. I think it's benefited me by, like, when I plan like a dinner, like just a family dinner. I mean, we're not just doing hot dogs. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to butcher shop. I'm getting best cut of meat. I'm going to Sperry's Mercantile, getting the loaded. I'm doing it. It's almost like I have to put on like a production in a way for my kids. And maybe that's not actually a benefit. But like my obsessive nature goes, all right, well, if we're going to play softball, then we got to go out to the field on days we're not practicing. You know what I'm saying? Like we got to field balls. We got to learn the flip for a double play. We got to learn how to bunt. We got to learn how to swing with our hip. And then sometimes I just forget that my kids are 8. Does that make sense?
Totally.
And so I think I can get very fixated on my role as a dad. Like, even like I could take this morning for an example. I woke up a little bit late. Lauren woke up a little bit late. We have an 8-week-old who wakes up through the night and all those kind of things. And when I get up in the mornings, if I wake up into a rush, I'm arguably the worst person to be around in human history. Like, I'm like flipping on the lights in the bedrooms. I'm like, get out of bed. We got to brush our teeth. Get your clothes on. Hey, let's brush your hair now so we're not late in the car. I'm going to fix sausage here. I'm going to do bagels here. I'm going to do this. And then someone spills grape juice all over a white chair, and someone just feeding the dog sausage. And my brain, I get spiraling super hard to the point where it's just like, I don't know that I've even loved my kids well at all this morning. So by the time they get out of the car to go to school, I'm like, hey, I love y'all. And they're like, really? You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm so focused on the task, which is getting everybody to that drop-off line on time. And I've missed so many incredible moments from the hour of 6:30 to 7:30 in the morning. And so where I feel like maybe sometimes I'm being helpful, sometimes I just wonder if I'm like a little bit overbearing. You know what I mean? Because like in their mind, they're like, well, but I kind of just wanted to eat my cereal slow. What a concept. You know what I'm saying? Every time someone asks me like, how's your life? I'm like, it's Mach 12.
Yeah.
Mach 12. And I would say you could ask pretty much any man or woman with at least two kids or more what their life is like, and it's Mach 12. Then you add sports into it. I feel like I'm in this season where like I was telling Tyne this a minute ago, it's like I see my kids, but I don't see my kids. Does that make sense? We're either on the way to volleyball, we're on the way to softball, we're on the way to soccer, we're on the way to this, a birthday party, a wedding, a baby shower, get your homework done, study for your ERB. Like, there's never really time to just be like, oh, what is it? What is this piece feel like? And I think I'm in the sort of the mode right now where like I have to sort of go internally, go put my feet in the grass, stare at the sun for 3 minutes and come back inside and like almost like create my own peace amongst the chaos. I was at a summit last week and John Maxwell was speaking. You ever heard any John Maxwell?
Oh, love
it's
him.
Unbelievable.
He's legendary.
There's one thing that he said that caught me not off guard, but just got my attention. And he said, you have to quit taking yourself so seriously. Like you have to learn how to laugh at yourself because I promise you other people are laughing at you. That's what he said.
Come on.
And when I like really look back at this morning, what's the worst case scenario? You know what I mean? Worst case scenario is that we were 10 minutes late to school. You know what I mean? And I decided to be this like task-oriented sort of OCD dad slam a protein shake, do all the things I need you to do, brush your hair, put a ponytail in, don't rub your sausage fingers all over my leather chairs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And in reality, what I have done is like I'm now teaching them that pace of life. I'm really not teaching them how to slow at all, which is what I'm trying to coach myself on every day. I'm actually teaching them to move faster. You know what I mean? And I know that you have to teach your kids like how to do and how to go and how to know like, hey, this time means this time. And if we're not here at this time, we have to be late. But at the same time, like worst case scenarios, we're 10 minutes late to school. And so I think just allowing myself the grace to realize that the worst case scenario is really not that bad. Yeah. And I don't even know if I answered your question.
Well, I don't even know that I asked one. That's what's fun about these conversations.
Yeah.
I don't know that I asked a specific one, but I'm really enjoying kind of hearing your thoughts about this because I think it's highly relatable. You said quite a bit there. First, I'll acknowledge one thing, which is a lot of people don't know you have that skill, which is you're an incredible chef. I've seen you on the grill before. I've been in duck camps with you where you did these reverse sears, and I'm like, how in the world did you do that? So you could call that a production, or you could call it just, I want to put a lot of intention.
Maybe so.
I want to put a lot of intention into an experience for my kids.
For sure.
So I see it more as that. I see you doing that every dinner I've ever been at. Is if we're going to do this, let's do it right.
Yeah.
Let's make it good. So I wouldn't be too hard on yourself there. And I think what you're describing in terms of the obsessive nature of trying to do a whole lot of activity in a short amount of time is really pressure.
Yes.
It's our relationship with pressure. And how am I going to navigate pressure in this environment but not put that pressure onto my kids, which is the ultimate challenge. I don't know that any parent perfects that. There may be one out there. I certainly don't. I swing and whiff at that one about every other school day when I'm trying to get them ready. But you do start to realize, and that's what you're so good at, and that's why I've always loved our conversations. And you may remember when I think I did ask a question. I was saying the way you're wired, what's the benefit and what's the challenge?
Yeah.
And I notice you and I are both this way, which is it's part of our gifting as we want to grow, is we're much quicker to go down the critical side of it.
100%.
And sometimes miss. And so you just gave a perfect example of what you described earlier, which is the one soft sell night and the two sellouts, and you forget about the sellouts.
Yes.
And so I would just encourage you, and I really just a mirror moment for me to encourage me too, because I wake up and our kids go to the same school, so I wake up in that same kind of environment, just not as many kids, and so but the pressure is still there, and I think what we're learning as parents and as people with developing little humans, and even honestly taking care of ourselves, is that often pressure makes us lose our ability to determine pace. And for them, all they care about is presence and pace.
That's right.
And that's part of the challenge, which I think that's why I wanted to pull that Tiger Woods ad up. I didn't remember it, but the way you described it, I felt like it was going to take a very complex thing and try to simplify it.
Yeah.
And then poke fun at the complexity of it. I really feel like that's what you described your morning as. That's a very complex thing.
It is.
Trying to figure out 5 kids and 1 8-week-old and get them all to school on time.
100%.
And then we're over here saying, but it's just parenting.
Right.
They should be able to eat slow and get right 10 minutes late. It's like, really? Maybe not.
I know.
I think what's more important, and you have talked about this before, I've encouraged, and that's another thing I appreciate about the I was about to say a word that's not really a word. Reciprocality. There's a reciprocal nature to our friendship. And you teed it up a long time ago because when we were just getting to know each other, I think we were on a golf course down in 30A with a bunch of guys years ago. And I ended up paired with you in a foursome or maybe even riding in a cart. And we got off. I had hacked one off and the stuff. And you went over there with me to help me find my ball. And then I was setting up on it. I was already several shots into the hole and frustrated.
Yeah.
And you just asked me a zinger of a question right in the minute. You said, man, I've been curious about something about you. You take care of everybody in town. All the artists you work with, blah, 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 blah. Who takes care of you? You got anybody you're talking to? I didn't have an answer for that at that time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember
But I was
that.
also a little stunned by the question because I was like, wait, you're quite a bit younger than me. Where'd you get the forethought to be able to think about me in that way? And ever since then, we've had a real reciprocal relationship. And that's what I wanted this whole show to be about. Some people might see me because of my space, just the way a young songwriter and artist might see you, as they'll look at the success and be like, well, there's an expert of their craft.
Yeah.
And I've got a little bit of an allergy to the concept of being an expert.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anybody ever arrives there. I do have some lived experience and some wisdom that I'm always happy to share. But I really believe the people in front of me, whether they have my training and education or not, have just as much to offer as I might have to offer through lived experience.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted this concept of learning something by lived experience.
Sure.
And I think everybody's got something to offer. I bet you, as much as you could dissect your morning as a parent of 5 and an 8-week-old, there's a lot I could learn from you about parenting right now. Because there's just stuff you're experiencing that there's no way I could. And there's no way a textbook could teach me. And I am curious because up until now, I've got 2. And it's just kind of happened where my daughter is my wife. I mean, they are wired the same. They love the same things. They look the same way. And so generally they just do a lot of hanging out because they're both super creative.
Right.
And my son and I are very similar. We're very wired the same way. So I realized my daughter just celebrated her 7th birthday and this week, earlier, I guess last week. And I realized that I've not been as intentional as I would like to be in developing a really good relationship with my daughter.
Yeah.
Because we just do different things. And I've got to change that because I heard you recently say with your oldest, what you've got like 7 summers left or something like there are 8 summers.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things I wanted to ask you selfishly this morning, but I think I'll probably ask on behalf of a lot of other dads and parents out there. But you've been with 4 daughters.
Yeah.
And now enter son. What is raising 4 daughters taught you about being a man, about being a dad?
Yeah. I think the most cliche way to answer that is to be like, man, it's men are so different than women. You know what I mean? And by women, I mean adults or preteens, because I feel like Willa Gray's 10, but I feel like she acts like she's 14. And Ada James is 8. She acts like she's 12. And I think, I hope this answers your question, but I think I've genuinely had to learn how to come on to their level in different ways. And when you have 5, it would be a lot easier if everyone just enjoyed doing the same stuff. You know what I mean? Like something as easy as like, what movie do you want to watch tonight? That is like starting a war in our house. You know what I'm saying? Because Willa Gray wants to watch something her age appropriate, and then Lily wants to watch Aladdin, and then you got Lennon, you know what I mean? And it's just like they all want to be treated the same, but they all need different stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like me and Willa Gray, like obviously she's in 4th grade, she's playing a bunch of sports, got a bunch of friends, and so we're not fully into the my dad's not cool yet phase, but we're inching
Close.
there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I could say something like I've been saying this to Ada James as she steps up to the plate because I don't know why I love embarrassing my kids. I just feel like it's like a rite of passage
a dad thing.
at the sport phase. But
true dads,
every time Ada James walks up to the plate now, I'll go, "Come on, slugger," and
She hates it.
she's like, oh. You know what I mean?
She's devastated.
Devastated. But like my dad used to do that with me. Like I'll yell like "I love you" super loud, like out the window, so that all the kids and walking up can hear it. And they're just like they just put their head down. They're like, oh, "That's not my father." You know what I mean? But I love it. Like I want them to overly know that like I love them and love to have fun with them. But Ada James is just like me. Ada James wants to dive in, just kind of like you and Mav. It's like I'll try anything, and I'm probably going to be pretty good at it. You know what I mean? Willa Gray is a little bit different where she's a little bit quieter of a person. And so if I walk up to Ada James and be like, "So what happened today?" I mean, I'm about to get an hour's worth of feedback. You know what I'm saying? Well, we started in this class and we did this and we did that and we did this. And my friend did this and my friend said that. And if I were to look at Willa Gray and say, "How was your day?" She'd be like, "It was fine." You know what I mean? And for some reason, it sparks this crazy chord in me because I'm such a transparent human being. Like if you ask me about how my shows went, I'm gonna give you every detail.
Yep.
If you ask me about how golf was, I'm gonna give you every detail. If you ask me about anything, I just love to talk about, I don't know, I just love to talk about stuff. And Willa Gray, I've noticed that I have to get her in the right environment for her to open up to me. So we have been, I bought her a little Garmin like run watch. I was like, why don't me and you start walking together or running together? And I hate to run so bad. Like I absolutely hate it. And so this week we've done like 5 or 6 miles together, like just in the neighborhood. And the first mile is not much conversation at all. But then like around mile 2, this was the first day we started running. I was like, "Hey, can we play a little game?" And she was like, "Yeah." Like she was like, "Are you gonna make me talk about something?" I was like, I get 3 questions to ask you, and then you get 3 questions to ask me. And so that way I feel like I'm taking the pressure off of anything at all. And my questions are super surface level. It's like, who's your best friend? What's your favorite sport? You know what I mean? And hers are like, she goes in. When she gets the opportunity where I'm like, hey, I'm going to tell you the whole truth right here, age appropriate truth. She's like, she just goes in, and all of a sudden, like, that has become our time. Even though it's only like an hour in the day, that's our time to like really connect. You know what I mean? And then you go to Lennon and Lily, and like all they really want is just for you to be there. You know what I mean? They don't want to get into like super deep conversation. They just want you just to be there and build blocks. So they want you to be in the backyard kicking the soccer ball. And so I think that's the hardest part about being a dad of multiples, is that you don't get just one path. Because none of your kids are exactly the same. You know what I mean? And so I think the biggest thing I've learned this year is that I really do have to, as busy as my schedule is, I have to carve out intentional time with each child. And it doesn't have to be some extravagant date night where we're going to, Sperry's or something like that. It's just like, hey, Lennon, me and you are going to walk to the top of the hill in our neighborhood, and we're just going to sit there and hang out. You know what I mean? Like, I think that those are the moments they're going to remember. Somebody said to me, it was Suzanne Marinick, who's got 8 kids. Yeah. And she's like, they're never really going to remember the quantity. They're always going to remember the quality. Ooh. You know what I'm saying? And when you got 8 kids, how do you do it? There's only 7 days in a week. You know what I mean? But I think that your kids really will remember you taking that 10 minutes outside to like watch them do this new trick they learned on the scooter, or watch them do a backflip on the trampoline, or whatever it is. And for me, being like I'm a progress person, which a lot of the work I've done in counseling is just like, man, I just don't know how to be. You know what I'm saying? Like if someone wants me to come like watch them build blocks, I'm like, but what are we doing? You know what I'm saying?
Is there anything, do you go, is this productive?
Is this productive?
Is this worth our time?
Yeah, exactly. Whereas like I can attach productivity to, all right, you want to get better at softball? Let's go to the field. And I can watch you ground balls, and I can watch you throw to first base, and I feel like, okay, we've accomplished something. It's like I've always compared it to like I love to chop wood. Like in the wintertime, I love to chop wood. Because in my business, when you write the song, yeah, you finished a song, but that's the tip of the iceberg of the success of that song. You might wait a year after that song is written to see if it's going to actually have panned out into something successful or not. You chop a piece of wood, split. You physically get to watch something that was 1 now become 2. Then you can make it into 4. Then you can make it into 6. And now I can burn it. You know what I'm saying? I'm physically getting to watch my efforts pay off. Whereas like parenting, they're few and far between of you sort of delivering like an inspirational speech or putting in your being present hours. Like you might not see that until they're 30. Wow. Pay off. You know what I'm saying? And so like it's a discipline for me. Like the discipline of being is arguably the hardest thing that I struggle with, because if I can't pair it to productivity, it's very hard for me to stay engaged, which is probably why I don't vacation super well.
Yeah, me neither.
Someone was saying that like Europeans take, and correct me if I'm wrong, Harry, like month long. Maybe it's Italians. I don't know.
You get a lot more paid time off, don't you?
UK, they get like 4 to 6 weeks off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Whereas here, it's what, 14 days, 12 to 14 days on average?
10.
10. Wow. Jeez.
Yeah. So if you think about the last time you're like, we should go here for the weekend. We should go to the beach for the weekend. Let's take fall break, for example. We always go down to 30A for fall break. You get 4 days, right? By the time we're leaving to go home is when I've just now sunk into the fact that we're here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like
I think humans, especially in the fast-pacedness of living in America today, you really do need 3 days to like sink into your trip. You know what I mean? Like if we just go to the beach for a weekend, I'm just kind of like, all right, let's build the sandcastle, let's put the volleyball net up, let's have a cannonball contest, let's do to make sure that our beach thing is being accomplished. You know what I mean? And I think God is so creative and so funny when he pairs us with our spouses, because my wife could not be more opposite than that. Yeah. You know what I mean? If a kid just ate a mouthful of sand, I have a full-on come apart. I'm like, we got to go back to the house. We got to spray the water hose down their throat. Are they going to die? Are they going to choke? She's like, it's just sand. Like how I would love to view life that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, well, they have mayonnaise all over their face. It's just mayonnaise. You know what I mean? Like I desire so much of the traits that my wife. I do wish my wife had a smidge more of the trait that I have. I think we'd make it a lot more places on time. But it is so fun to live a life with someone that is so opposite from you, because every day I get to watch her in the same chaos that I'm in, and her just be completely chill. And I'm sitting there going, "How are you so chill?" You know what I mean? Do you not see that the world is crumbling around us? And she's like, we're just late to school. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if you were to take it back 2,000 years ago, they did a lot better job at that. There was also way less distractions. There were way less, if you needed to get a message to somebody, it might have taken you a month to get a message to somebody. Now we're basically all on call doctors.
Yeah.
There's no time you can't reach me. You know what I'm saying? My manager is sitting right here, and he's the first one to look at me and say, "Hey, buddy, go have a great time on vacation." For some reason, that gives me so much anxiety, because I'm like, now that you're leaving me alone, now I don't know that actually anything productive is happening here, even though I know that there is. So I'll find something 3 days in to call Harry with. I'm like, "Hey, bud, how's this going?" He's like, "It's good, man. Like, are you having fun on vacation?" I'm like, yeah, I am. But what are we going to do when we get back? You know what I'm saying? It's like if I can see any of the productivity wheel starting to slow, it's almost like this fear of irrelevance creeps in, and then this fear of, well, shoot, everybody else is on the road right now, but I'm with my family on the 4th of July. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Like, should I be out there grinding? Should I be out there doing that? And I think the main question I get asked all the time is like, how do you do the family, the work-life balance thing? I don't know that I believe in work-life balance. Because I think if you do balance them, you're actually doing this at 50%, you're doing this at 50%. And I feel like I've said this a few times, but like wherever you are, give that 100%. Because when the other things start to creep into the place that you're at, all of a sudden that 100% goes down to 80 and then to 60. You know what I'm saying? My friend texted me the other day and he was like, "Man, I've got a brand new baby. I'm about to go on the road and I'm feeling some pretty immense dad guilt." I was like, okay, I've been there for 10 years. I said my encouragement to you would be, when you go on the road, obviously like check in back at home, but like make sure you're doing the road at 100%. You know what I'm saying? But when you get to your front door at your house, almost like a snake can shed its skin, shed all ego, shed all pride, and shed any amount of I'm a celebrity at the door, because that is not welcome. And your kids don't need you to be a celebrity at home. Your wife does not need you to be a celebrity at home. Your wife needs a man and a husband and a father. You know what I'm saying? But it's so easy because of the daggum that's just always right there, and you're just eating dinner and you're kind of like, your kid's talking to you for 20 minutes and you're like, what'd you say? You know what I'm saying? My wife says that to me all the time. She's like, "Baby, they don't need you to take them to Disney World. They just need to see your eyes when you talk." And that hit me like a ton of bricks. That was said to me last week. It's like, they just need to see your eyes when you talk. Yeah. You know what I mean?
We're right in the middle of that challenge that we're trying to do, Vanessa and I. We're very much, she said a lot there, and we're very much wired like you guys. That's what makes it. We all did, when we get together as couples, we just laugh at each other, because my wife is really just naturally funny, just the way she tries to survive and move about the world.
I'm visioning it right now.
Yes. She does a Vanessa, we call it. But she's also got, ironically, when we've been on a couple trips together, Lauren and I are kind of wired similarly in a lot of ways, and so that's how we all tripped into horses together. Yeah. Is where we were in Wyoming. Yeah. At what's the big festival out there you headlined?
Frontier Days.
Yeah, we were at Frontier Days, and we before y'all were even up, we went walking out and came home with horses in a burro, Daisy and Petunia, and then the rest is here. Now we've got several, probably more than both of us need. We started out by saying when we get to ride horses again. I hope soon. But we are constantly doing that dance. And one of the challenges we've got in our house right now is if either of us speak to each other, or if a kid speaks to us, we immediately make eye contact and put that down immediately. And we're trying to teach them to do it too, because I noticed that we kept trying to tell them, to get off a pad or to get off a screen when we're saying, "Hey, dinner's about ready," or "What would you like for dinner?" or what was, and it's never it's a distracted answer.
For sure.
And so you get a very fragmented thought process. And I was like, well, we're not really mirroring what we're asking them to do.
Yeah.
And the minute they say our name, if we're on this, it goes down and we make eye contact. We've been trying it for a couple weeks. It's been amazing.
That's so good. Yeah.
And something else you said too, I think when you talked about what kids, and I think, I know we're camped out on parenting, but this really applies, I think, to all human relationships.
Mm-hmm.
We all want to be noticed and seen and valued by the people in front of us.
Yeah.
Even if it's a micro meaning that they give us by giving us eye contact and presence. We all want to be heard. I coached my Mavericks basketball team in the fall of last year. Had a ball. And now I'm doing flag football. And this has become, the flag football is a lot more challenging because there's a lot more moving pieces. There's more kids to coach. And I've noticed that, all of them also are actively plugged into the distraction machine like we are.
Yeah.
So they're watching, on the YouTubes and kids' YouTubes, flag football. So they're getting an image of what they should be doing and how they should be playing by watching what other people are doing. And then they come into the huddle and they're like, if they're not the primary focus of that moment, like I'm open, I need to pass. Can I play a different position? Then they don't feel seen.
Right.
And so I don't have 7 kids in a huddle. I got 7 coaches in a huddle.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to figure out how can I, and I've tried the direct discipline approach.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the shut up and listen coach would do. It's like, if you want to stop playing for you, play for we, trying to teach them all that. It's going right over their head.
100%.
And I shifted the focus last week and I started realizing, what if I beat them to the punch? They're over here basically 100 ways from yesterday asking to be seen.
Yeah.
Probably not even by me, by their parents on the sideline if they catch a pass.
Yeah.
But it's highly distractive in the huddle because we can't get a team together if everybody's trying to be an I.
Right.
And I thought, what if I beat them? And every time I notice something about every one of them and give them a micro moment before they ask me a question.
Yeah.
Hard to do, but it seems to be, I've seen to have a little traction and success with it in the first week I've tried it. And it kind of goes like this. I really noticed you ran a great pattern at a time. Well done. You really hustled back to the huddle. Well done. I noticed you encourage your teammate. Really well done. And the questions will go like this to this because I've actually acknowledged them in real time. Now,
for sure.
Is it sustainable for the long haul? I don't think so. At some point, we'll have to flip it into, hey, you just need to listen in this huddle. It's what you're here for. But for now, we're up against this crisis and deficit of attention.
Yeah.
Like our attention is so divided and so distracted. It's very difficult. I think it's one of the more challenging times in history to raise a kid.
100%.
And I welcome the challenge, but the biggest part of the challenge for me, and what I'd say what breaks my heart, and I was going to ask you that question next because I think you gave a lot of good insight that's relatable for parenting in that last segue. But my heart breaks a lot. And I think that's one of the reasons I've been avoiding. I have a different intimate relationship with my daughter than I do my son.
Yeah.
And I know you're, just, not far into having a son.
Yeah.
But my heart breaks more with my daughter.
Yeah.
When I see her get dismissed or I see her have a school worry or not be plugged in, it just breaks my heart.
Sure.
And often I move too quick to fix it in empathy versus empowering her to be able to make one of those decisions. And I wonder, with your kids as a father so far, what breaks your heart the most?
Yeah, I mean, probably what you just said of, when a kid comes home and says, well, I know that there was a few people invited to this thing, but I wasn't invited. Like, that breaks my heart. You know what I mean? And I don't know why, but maybe I look back into like my childhood or middle school, and it's just like, me and you have experienced that feeling of rejection before. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, I don't think I ever broke up with a girl. I think I always got broken up with. And when you kind of feel that rejection from, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, like, it's how do you deal with it? And then, like what you were saying, like, how do you parent that? You know what I mean? What are you supposed to say? And I really don't know the answer to that, except for to tell them what you see in them. But I was going to go back to something that you said earlier to try to help answer this question. But like, when you're talking about encouraging the team, be like, hey, I saw that pass. That was great. And I saw this play. Something that a counselor of mine said to me last week. They said, how do you know you're a great father? That was the question. You ever been asked that question before?
Not like that. That's a great way to answer.
Can you tell me how you know you're a great father? And kind of just reverting all the way back to the beginning about golf, it's like, for some reason, I have the ability to I can't even answer that question because I only want to go to the ways that I'm not. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
She asked me, how am I a great father? And I said, well, this morning I wasn't. She was like, that's not what I asked you. You know, she's like, how do you know you're a great father? And so when you start thinking about encouraging your kids, it's like, how do you encourage your kids when you don't even know how to like encourage you? Does that make sense? I heard a pastor say at one time, you know, love your neighbor as yourself. Well, what if you don't love yourself that well? You know what I mean? How are you supposed to love your neighbor if you don't even know how to love yourself? You know? And so I think to get to where your question is, it's like, if you as a parent are not also doing like sort of active work on and I'm not saying you got to go to counseling, but if you're not at least asking your spouse these questions or your dearest friends these questions of like, hey, how do you see me as a good dad? How do you see me as a good husband? How do you see me as a good friend? You know what I mean? All of a sudden, you can actually start seeing the ways that you're blinded by. And so I think kids sort of, you know, if they're sort of a shadow of you in some ways and you're watching them how they deal with rejection, it's actually just how you're dealing with rejection. You just sort of self-shame or like talk to yourself like, yeah, I'm not cool enough. I'm not good enough to go to this party. I'm not cool enough to make that sports team. You know what I'm saying? They're going to sort of believe that about themselves and they're going to carry it to when they're 36, 46, 56. And so I think they need to see you, how you deal with failure, how you deal with rejection. If it's in a positive way, then they're going to take those moments of the things that break your heart and me be like, hey, you know what? It's okay. You know what I mean? It's okay because I think you are incredible. And here's how I think you're incredible. And I think once they start believing that about themselves, that they actually are kind, they are funny, they are athletic, they are all these things, all of a sudden that squad that they weren't invited into, it makes them kind of go, all right, maybe not right now. You know what I mean? Maybe there's a different squad that I'm supposed to be a part of. Or maybe I'm supposed to bring these 4 squads in to the middle to where there is no sort of click. You know what I'm saying? I've never been asked that question before, what breaks my heart, but I guess that's the best way that I can kind of sum that up. So,
well, you kind of stumped me a little bit because I immediately in my mind went to when you said, how do you know you're a great father? What your counselor asked you. I started immediately trying to answer it. It made me hard to really be present and listening because I was like, how would I answer that if it were reverse engineer? Because I wanted to put myself in your shoes to see if I would struggle with the response. Did you get to an answer?
She had to take me there. That's what's really sad.
Would you be open to taking us there?
I mean, yeah, she started asking me a list of questions that like I had to answer sort of yes or no to. You know what I mean? She was like, well, do they miss you when you leave? I was like, yeah, bad. You know? So
to be missed
means that obviously there's something in you that they love and that they miss. I've never thought about it like that. I think about being a great dad as here are the things that I do. I make breakfast. I take you to sports. I buy you new shoes. I get you a toothbrush when you've lost yours. You know what I'm saying? That list makes no difference, in my opinion, to a kid. Like they don't even know that they need those things, but they're just sort of there because I think a good parent knows when to come in and be like, oh, you're hungry. I will give you food. You're thirsty. I will give you water. Like those are sort of basic needs. But that broke my heart, like genuinely that I couldn't even list 3 ways that I myself thought I was a great father. And so anyway, she started going, do they miss you when you leave? I was like, yes. She goes, when they go to bed, are you the one that like who tucks the kids in? And I'm like, they always ask for me to tuck them in. And she was like, does that mean that they love you? I'm like, yeah. You know what I mean? Like I don't think about that type of stuff. But it sort of goes back to the way that we talk about ourselves or the way that, you know, I mean, you talk about coaching, man. And I'm not trying to pivot. I will come back here, but like a great coach is such a huge blessing in a kid's life. You know what I mean? Like I had coaches growing up that just weren't the greatest. You know what I mean? Like it was beat you down, beat you down, beat you down, but then there was no, but hey, get out there. You got this. There was none of that. You know what I'm saying? And so like all I really knew from growing up was like, okay, well, I suck. I'm a failure. If I go into the game, I will mess it up. And if I mess it up, it's going to be 10 times worse than it was had I not gone into the game. So that's why when I played football, I tried to stay as far away from the head coach as humanly possible, because if he saw me or if he didn't see me,
he couldn't criticize you.
Or maybe he wouldn't put me in the game. Because if I go in the game, now I have the opportunity to fail. Does that make sense?
And you were trying to avoid failure.
And dude, I can't tell you how much that has come into my parenting, being a husband in my career.
Yeah.
Paralyzing in some senses.
Even I would say it even comes into your friendship.
And comes into my friendship.
Because I remember when we were first starting to get to know each other and you were like, I'm going to tell you up front, I'm not a good friend.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
Right.
That's an interesting way to enter a friendship.
Yeah, for sure. Because I've probably been told my wife gets on me all the time. She'll look at my phone sometimes. She'll be like, hey, can I borrow your phone to call somebody? And she'll start pulling up text messages and be like, hey, did you respond to Miles? Hey, did you respond to Chad? Hey, did you respond? I'm like, no. And she's like, why? I'm like, I don't know. I read it and then I responded in my brain, but I didn't respond on text.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, from now on, if someone texts you and you don't have time to answer them, can you just not open the text message? And so like that has been the way that so anyway, I've had so many friends be like, well, TR ain't gonna text you back. TR probably won't call you back.
And the story you make up about that is?
I've sort of just labeled myself as not a good friend.
Like not reliable.
Not reliable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or too busy, or there's some way that I will blame it on something. And so then for years I remember, I've had so many friends that have come into my life from just being a dad at school. I mean, you meet so many of the dads at school and all this kind of stuff. I remember there was one guy I'm really dear friends with, but he had introduced me to a guy and we started exchanging phone numbers, and my buddy looked at this guy and he said, careful, he probably won't text you back.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I know that he didn't mean that maliciously, but that was 2 years ago. And from that point, I was like, okay, I refuse to be an unreliable friend now. I might be a friend that doesn't text you back for 7 days, but when I do, I'm going to really mean it when I call you or text you back.
When you said he probably didn't mean it maliciously, how do you think he meant it?
I think that he has probably seen from experience of our friendship of what it is to be friends with me. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so many times that I rely, like there's many days that I have this sort of like, it's not like a victim mentality, but it's like, y'all could never understand how busy I am. Does that make sense? And I'm sitting here talking to a global CEO of a company.
Yeah.
He's like, you think I don't understand how busy you are? You know what I mean? It really is what are you carving out the time to do? Like how much do your friendships actually mean to you? You know what I'm saying? Because like I would say for the last 10 years, I can honestly say they didn't mean that much to me. They meant a lot to me when I needed them. You know what I mean? And I feel like God has done a lot of moments like the moment I just described of like, he probably won't text you back. Those are like little convicting moments for me of just like, what kind of friend are you being? How invested are you in certain people's lives? Do you have too many friends? You know what I mean? Because I really do think you have, there's a guy that I worked with named Jack. He's like a 75-year-old man, unbelievable life coach, counselor. And he kind of described this like knights table. Have you heard of this sort of mentality of like, or like this round table? It's like you get 5 people at your round table, your wife not included, your family not included. Who's sitting here filling these roles for you? And he describes like this little box where it goes from like, from like 0 to like 20, you're just sort of like in kid mode. Like everything is sort of a game. It's you sort of are free, and then you kind of advance into this like warrior phase, which is like 20 to like 40, which is like your grinding years. Like you've probably entered into the profession that you're trying to be in. You're getting really good at it, and then if you're lucky, you learn how to advance from the warrior phase to the kingship phase, more of like the mentor phase, right? So you've grinded. Now you've gotten here. This is more like 40 to 60 years old, and now you're still working maybe, but your main priority is like teaching these warriors how to advance into this stage. And then if you're really lucky, you advance from kingship down to sage. Sage is more like 70 to 80 if you make it that long. And now you're probably not really working, but you kind of get to relay all this wisdom you were talking about to the kingship, the warrior, and the kid. You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
And so then he describes these like different types of sectors of friends, right? So you have it sounds really, what am I trying to say? Maybe rude to like put your friends into a category, but if you really look at your friend list, you kind of know where these friends fall in. So you have this A group, and it's like, am I walking with you? Are we actively talking at least once a week? Are we getting together twice a year to like do something meaningful with each other? Are we deciding to do life with each other?
Right.
A group, right? B group, love you. Let's play golf. Maybe we'll grab lunch twice a year, right? Then your C group are more of just like acquaintances. You see them at a game, you're like, what's up, dude? You know what I mean? And I think for so long, I tried to take my C, B, and A and push them all into my A. You know what I mean? I tried to be a really great friend to like 50 people. I don't even have time to like care that much for myself.
Right.
Like, how am I going to care for 50 people? You know what I mean? And so over the last 2 years, it has been just really convicting to me, on top of being a great dad and a great husband, to be a really intentional dear friend.
Yeah.
And I feel like my group has had to shrink a lot in order for me to be that for somebody else.
Well, and I think that's highly relatable. You said a lot there, but I wanted to take one take before I forget, but I'll say to Bob Goff, who you know as well as one of my dear friends, and he has a similar metaphor. He's like, you can only fit 8 people around your bed if you're lucky enough for them to be there when you die.
That's right.
He said 8 if they're skinny. It might be 7.
That's good. Yeah.
And he said you really need to hyper focus on your output and your time, and where you allocate your time really matters. And I think that's how I do the same thing. I'm guilty of looking up every few years, and sometimes I'll be really acquaintance heavy.
Sure.
And I'm not nurturing my close, really anchored friendships. But sometimes I think we make up a story about how our behavior might be affecting people in these other groups. And I think you were sensitive to even say it. You paused and you were like, this might seem a little insensitive. You use that word, but I think it's what you were doing.
Insensitive, yeah.
Because anytime you use the word A team, B team, C team, people think less than.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with that. You could
For
reverse engineer it and say the close group is C and B and A. It doesn't matter. But I take that friend, because I could have very easily been in that friend's shoes where introducing you to another person and said, be careful.
Yeah.
And there's one way to hear that, which is, dang, that's a pattern. I suck.
Sure.
Or maybe that was an endearing lob from a friend who says, look, he's not good at this thing, but don't take that personal because he's a really good guy.
For sure.
Could that be true too?
Yes. 2 things can be true.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if you look at mine right now, let's look at the red dots. It's it doesn't even show you the red dots when you're on Do Not Disturb.
There you go.
That's fantastic. I'm going to be fair.
181.
181.
Well done.
Red dots.
Yeah.
And well done. I'm not necessarily proud of that, and I don't show it to you like a badge of honor. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I don't think we have the bandwidth to really do that.
No.
To keep up with that. There are certain people that are so, and I so respect it. They work with me and my company. Without them, I wouldn't have a company.
Yeah.
I've got people that help me around the home that without them, I wouldn't have any structure.
Sure.
Because I'm a bit of a creative. I'm a dreamer. I think this way, not this way.
For sure.
I can turn that on, but I'm not wired to keep up with that kind of volume.
Right.
And that doesn't necessarily make me a bad friend.
For sure.
You told me up front. Now you told me in an unusual way. Because I didn't take that you're a bad friend. I just took that your time is incredibly limited. I don't have to look hard to see that.
Sure.
So I've got to go into that and think, if I'm going to pursue a friendship with you, I've got to have realistic expectations on all of it.
Sure.
We may not get much time together.
Right.
I may not hear back from you. And if I can depersonalize that, I know if I need to get you, I'll call you 4 times.
Right.
I'll bug you. And
Yeah.
you don't care. You've said that before. You're like, dude, follow up. And I'm the same way. And I tell my core people that, and I also especially tell my B and my C community that. And the reality is you can't cover all those bases. There's a people pleaser in you and I both. That I want everybody not to get their feelings hurt if they're in my proximity. And the reality is, if people do get their feelings hurt, that's as much their story and a growth opportunity as it is mine. It's been a hard lesson for me to digest. But I want you to hear that up front is that well, I want to circle back to one thing you said too, which is, because I kind of want to do this. I want to see if you're up for it. Because you had a trial run.
Yeah.
And you said she walked you through it. And would you be willing to swing again? If I were, and I'll be willing to do the same. I'll answer that question. And I want to, but before you do, I want to give you one ulterior take, because I think you minimized the food, water, shelter.
Sure.
Because you were like, well, that doesn't count.
Right.
That's kind of what dads are supposed to do.
Yeah.
And let me tell you,
I
see I see 2,000 or 3,000 people a year, successful people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, who did not have those bases covered.
For sure.
Basic, and it wasn't even that they grew up in abusive homes. It was just certain bases that got neglected.
Yeah.
And it turns out those were the foundational elements.
For sure.
It was the time. It was showing up to cook breakfast. And so to me, I almost put those at, if you do that, you're kicking butt.
Right.
As a dad.
Yeah.
So I give that to you before we reframe the question
I
to say,
appreciate that.
would you give it another try?
Of how do I know I'm a great father? It's funny the feeling I get in my gut even when you ask me that, because this is like this is round 2 of this, and it's almost like there's a part of me that's not willing to believe that I am in some ways. Like I know that I am. Like at my core, I know that I'm a great father, and I'm not sure what it is inside of me that only likes to list my flaws before I list the ways that I feel like I am good, because it almost brings this sense of pride to me in a way. Like if someone, like I'm such a great minimizer of anything. And I feel like, are you the same? Are you similar to that?
I can be for sure. I've got that gear.
I'm just going to bring up an example. This was yesterday at a volleyball tournament. People from all over the Southeast come to Nashville for these volleyball tournaments. And this dad walked up and this mom with their daughter, and they had been to a show of mine last year. And the dad walks up and he's like, "Hey, buddy, like my daughter would love to take a picture with you. She just thinks that you are the best. You're her favorite artist." And literally what I said back, I said, "Really? Why?"
I can be in a little bit of disbelief.
And she was shocked that I said that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I literally went on to say, there's so many better artists. Like basically, I couldn't even take her compliment. You know what I mean? And he was just like, and I said, yeah, just started just continuing to spiral down this like downplay of myself. Like you're not good. Like you haven't made people's nights super enjoyable, whatever. They're just saying that to be nice or whatever. And this girl's literally like, no, like it was the best show I've ever seen in my life. And I felt super uncomfortable and like super awkward. You know what I'm saying? And there's something about like, if I can just talk myself down enough, then when something doesn't happen how I think it should happen, then I've already prepared myself for it not to be great. Does that make sense? Which is so unfortunate, man. Like some of the work that I've been doing with Lauren recently has been this like, I'm not a liar. I hate to lie and I hate being lied to. But I have found myself in this pattern of, even on super, super small stuff, of like, I'm telling you the truth, but I'm not giving you the whole truth. Honestly, just to not engage in any kind of confrontation, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to think of an example, but our counselor basically like, could you get into a pattern where you like, even, let's go back to golf. If I'm trying to learn how to hit a draw, I have to overcorrect my inside to out path, and I might send a few far right, but once I finally come to that sweet spot from over exaggerating, now I'll find that sweet spot. That is how I have to do everything in life. I have to overcorrect to find the middle ground. And so she was like, for the next 6 months, can you just commit to like overly telling the truth? Like overly stating what's on your mind. She said, because once you get into the state of that, because like there's so many times where Lauren's like, I just don't know what you think. And then we could get into a whole other thing of like how I don't love to make decisions for my girls. I don't love to make decisions about where we're going to eat. I don't like to make any decision, because if my decision is wrong, who's to blame for that? Me. You know what I'm saying? So it could be something as simple as like, where are we going on vacation this summer? And even though I know that my wife wants to go to a place that I really do not, like at all.
Right.
And so now I'm trying to work on saying, hey, I would love to not go there. Where do you want to go? Well, I don't really know just yet, but I know that I don't want to go there. Does that make sense?
Does it ever?
Because my wife is such a saint in chaos, and I'm such not a saint in chaos, I will choose anything else than to be put in more of a form
Yeah.
of heat exhaustion.
I'm not sure
and sweat.
I can make a decision right now, but I can identify what would be a bad one.
Yes. And so that is where I'm getting to. And I'm going back to the question of how I know I'm a good father. I don't even know how I got on that tangent. I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm gonna steal yours and say I provide for them. I send them to a great school. I put them in all the sports they want to be in, which we're working on that. I think we just need to do one sport per season because it's insane. I actively help them on their walk with Jesus. I read scripture to them every night before they go to bed. When they see me come into the kitchen in the mornings, my goal is that the first thing they see is my Bible open on the kitchen counter. I feel like those are ways that I'm trying to actively to be a great dad. I see how hard this is when you get past the first list. This is a very awkward moment in the podcast.
Not for me. I'm locked in, man. I couldn't be more proud of you leaning into this lane because I know it is uncomfortable.
Yeah. I build them up. I overly build them up because I don't think I was built up enough, at least by coaches. And so I feel like I'm trying to give them that positivity in home of going, hey, like I have found myself walking to the dugout after every time Ada James strikes out at softball. And I'm like, hey, what did I ask you to do? She's like, you asked me to swing as hard as I could. And I said, and did you? And she's like, yeah, but I still struck out. And I'm like, well, so did Babe Ruth.
You affirm
and she's like, who's Babe Ruth? And I'm like, watch The Sandlot, But I'm just like, hey, the good news about this is you get to go do it again in 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? And so I do feel like I feel like I build up. I try to tell them that I think that they have what it takes. I don't know, I laugh with them. Not as much as I should, but I laugh with them. I play with them, not as much as I should, but I do play with them. I also feel like I'm giving them the right path of what it means to work hard. I know they see me leave a lot, but it is my job to come back into that door and then be like, how was it? Maybe it was awesome. I love what I do for a living. Because I think it's super important for them to know that your dad can go to work and come home and, yeah, he might have some bad days. But the fact that your dad dreamed and worked hard, he gets to do his dream for a living.
Oh, that's so good.
You know what I mean?
It's not I have to go to work.
It's not I have to go to work.
To.
There are some days where you just got to go.
Yep.
I don't care what job you do. There are days you love and there's days you can't stand.
But planting a seed that I'm choosing something that I love.
Yeah, exactly. Gosh, I've listed 10 now.
Yeah.
Is it your turn?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Before I jump in, I just want to draw a point, which is I notice it's not that you can't identify, and I so appreciate you being willing to be awkward with me, because if we both were on here and it's like, here's the 10 points, give them the guru version.
Yeah.
I don't think people learn enough from that.
For sure.
I don't. I'm not looking for an expert to tell me the 3 steps of parenting because it just seems out of touch a little bit. I gain from it. We'll probably quote a lot of those people today, but to me, it's the uncomfortable part. It's the awkward part that I'm like, oh my gosh, I can relate to that so much.
Sure.
And if he can do it, I can give it a go too.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes we attach, and I've been guilty of it too, we attach a story and therefore we attach meaning to certain things that are a little more complex and nuanced than we think.
Yeah.
And critical thinkers often, I'm saying this to all of us because I think you and I both are critical thinkers, which is one of our greatest gifts and our greatest burdens.
Yeah.
If we're not careful, we can get trapped in a certain line of thought and not see the color and everything becomes black and white.
For sure.
In your case, you started off by saying, here's the areas I need to improve in. Now you could say, see, I did it again. Or I could say humble.
Yeah.
You're a very humble father. You're very self-aware.
Yeah.
That you would start by saying, here's the areas I need to improve in.
Sure.
2 ways to look at that. One of them is, and the other one is, that's really cool that you didn't start off with your highlight reel.
Yeah.
You started off. So what if we could reattach certain meanings or get the nuance in there, and then maybe we develop a different relationship with the pressure underneath that. Another really important thing you did that I think is superhuman, I think all of us, including me, can learn from, and I'm glad you went first because it's going to make it easier for me to answer, is my work often requires pattern recognition. because I'm helping people unlock stuck elements of their story.
Sure.
That might be holding them back in some area of their lives, in relationships, vocations, whatever it might be, faith, just helping people try to ground themselves spiritually and emotionally. Well, that requires us to identify certain patterns. And to identify a pattern that is current, it often requires us to connect dots going back. Collect dots going back so that we can connect them in real time.
Yeah.
I watch you, it's one of my favorite things about the way you think, is I watch you go back and collect the coaching dot and be like, man, I got hyper-criticized in a season of life.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the rest of us that are listening to you, it's like, well, it makes total sense why you'd be pretty critical now.
Yeah, for sure.
The why. You went back and you excavated the why and you brought it to real time.
Yeah.
All of us, I want you to say that if you're listening to this, that's such an important thing to do. And often you think you got to be in some kind of sophisticated counseling or psychotherapy to do it. Don't want to minimize or discount my profession, because I think there are people really trained with cool models to make that easier for you to do. And there's the buddy version.
Yeah.
Where we can sit here and have a thoughtful conversation without a stopwatch, saying we got somewhere else to be. We didn't have an agenda sitting down. I didn't sit down with you. This was a lot easier. Other people that would give me their time, and maybe I'm sorry to say this in front of your team, I didn't think, what do we got to promote today?
Yeah.
And not that I don't want you to sell more concert tickets or more music, but I had this weird theory. I think when people really know a human, they want to be around a human.
Totally.
And they want to be drawn to a human.
Sure.
And we'll get to the music, but for now, it's like I just have so much respect for that process. You went to the why, you connected dots, and you showed up humble, and then you listed some of the things that I think are really important. I appreciate you pushing through. Man. So back to me. Both of us are great deflectors too. We're genius at it. I'm not there. Let me talk about you some more so I can avoid talking about me. Damn it. I walked us into this. Okay. All right, I'm going to take that version too. Providing is wildly important to me.
Yeah.
I want to cook them breakfast. I want to read them a book and tuck them in. We have the opposite, which makes sense because we said we have similarities and differences in how we're wired. They do want Vanessa. They want her at night. Yeah. They want mom at night. But they also want me to pop in occasionally and read them a story.
Sure.
Such sacred time when I get an opportunity to do it. I spent a couple years where I wasn't as available on the provider list. And this year I'm retooling that.
Yeah.
So it's not about the rip. You've heard me say this before. It's about the repair. I'm repairing something this year that the last 2 years I didn't do as well. So I do think I have a general disposition towards improvement and bettering myself as a father.
Right.
I think that's a good skill.
Totally.
I try to be humble about my shortcomings.
Yeah.
I try to be present and show up for them where I can. I'm very conscious of the time I have away from them. And if I feel like it's gone too long or it's starting to stretch into where it's straining or stressing them, then I'm going to try to work my schedule where I can prioritize that and time with them over everything else. I think there's intimate moments and experiences, much like you described with making a meal like a meal.
Yeah.
I'm good at that. Like we did yesterday morning, we were out at the farm, and I've been wanting to do a little bit more church activity on Sunday because we're not formally in a church right now. And so we've been doing church in the creek, and I've been setting up chairs in the creek. And it started out with just the four of us, and I would read, some scripture, and then I would pray, and then we'd sing one kind of kid song, and then I would give a little message. And then yesterday was the third time we did it, and there were 25 people there. Yeah, other families, other friends, and I thought, organically has just happened. And we did this thing yesterday where everybody had a rock, and we talked about worry, and I had some scriptures that were tied to worry and anxiety, and then everybody got to identify. And there's 6, 7, 8, 40, 50-year-olds in the circle. Yeah. And so it was really fascinating to try to figure out a message that an 8-year-old could consume that would also warm up the heart of a 40-year-old father or mother. And it, I won't get into it, so I won't give the message away, but they got to throw rocks in the middle and attach a meaning to the rock, and it splashed everybody, and it was kind of fun. And we sent some flowers floating downstream, and there was a gratitude moment in that. And I thought at the end of that, I'm good at that. Yeah, I'm good at curating experiences that help ground people and pull meaning and value in. And for so long, I've hyper-focused on how that benefits people with my vocation, but right now, it's really benefiting my family. Yeah. And I think it's helping me be a great dad. It's just using my natural skill set, my creativity to bring warmth into our environment. I love my kids. surprised by the emotion. I love them more than anything I've ever loved in my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that makes me a good father.
For sure.
It's undisputable. It's unconditional.
Yeah.
I don't always get it right.
Right.
Sometimes I'm too critical. Sometimes I'm too this. But to my core, I am in love with my kids. So I think those are some of the things that make me a good father.
Absolutely. That's great. You did great.
My challenge, and maybe you can relate to this because I saw you here too. It's like, first our challenge was how do you start that?
Mm-hmm.
And then it was how do you end it? Because will there be enough for you and I?
Right.
Because when you started, you were 30 seconds in, and I was like, and you were like, oh, this is awkward. I don't know where I go from here. And I'm like, that's enough.
For sure. Yeah. 100%.
And I think that's something both of us and all of you that are listening and watching, I think we all could take a dose of enough.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's anything we could give our kids or the people that we love, or in your case, the thousands of people that you influence through your art,
sure.
It's the more I can be grounded in who I am, and the more I can be reminded of the output that I give can be improved.
Totally.
But on most days, it's enough.
Yeah, for sure.
Getting your kids to school alive and breathing today.
Right. That's a win.
It's a win.
That's a win.
It's enough.
You know, something that I was thinking about when you were saying all that, I can't remember what book this is from. It may have been, have you read this book called Living Life Backwards?
No, but I love the title.
It's unbelievable. It's about, my favorite book in the Bible is Ecclesiastes. It always has been. And a lot of my friends that knew me well growing up be like, of course that's your favorite book. It's the most pessimistic book in the Bible, you know. But when you really get into the weeds of Ecclesiastes, I mean, Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 1, vanity, vanity. It's all vanity. You know what I mean? And you could if you really just looked at that one word, meaningless, meaningless. This is all meaningless. If you look at that without an internal perspective, it is a super pessimistic book. You know what I'm saying? And there's basically the concept of the book is like, if you believe that the one thing that is for certain in your life is your death, right? Like me and you think that we're going to leave today and we're going to go home, we're going to about our day. We have no idea what's going to happen on the car ride home. I know that's so cliche to say, but basically if you believe that the only thing for certain in your life is your death, and that does not change the way that you live today, then you actually believe that you are immortal, right?
Wow.
Well, my relationship with my friends is going to get great when I'm 60. My relationship with God is going to be awesome when I'm 75 and retired in a rocking chair. You know what I mean? You don't know. You just don't know. So it frames this whole thing of like, what does it act like the Tim McGraw song? What does it actually mean to live like you're dying? You know what I'm saying? You read so many stories of people that were, big time hustlers and made billions and billions of dollars, and then they get diagnosed with cancer or ALS or whatever it may be, and all of a sudden their perspective is just like, gosh, I don't have time. I don't have a lot of time. You know what I mean? Because if I were to live every single day like I'm dying, like what are the things that you're not thinking about anymore? You know what I'm saying? Is the one thing on your brain your 401k? If you knew you were going to die tomorrow? Seriously, I'm asking.
Well, and you stumped me because I too know that there's a great study where a hospice nurse wrote a book, and I can't remember the name of the book, but we'll put it in the show notes when I remembered it. Something like Being with the Dying or something, The Gifts of the Dying, and same concept. Is like the one thing they learned from all these people at the end of life had very little to do with everything they accomplished and what they earned, and what they wanted more of was what we're doing.
Yeah.
Time, relationships, connecting with the person in front of me, being present with the person in front of me, being connected to my faith. That's what you remember most, and it's what you regret most at the end of life. Now, I think what you're trying to walk me into is if we know that now, how could it influence the way that we're
why
living?
is it not changing us today?
Or is it?
Or is it? Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I was going back to a thing when you were talking about that like building these curated moments for your family, and I think that's awesome. But there's a line in that book, and I'm sure it's kind of an old kind of quote, but like it's like cursed is the man who is a prophet overseas, but a burden in his own home.
Oof.
You ever heard? And I'm probably botching that, but it's like, like my goal is that and I'm stealing this from John Maxwell, but my goal is to be loved and respected the most by the people that know and love me the most. Does that make sense? But think about, like, my job is curating things for people. You know what I mean? I'm curating a night of music and trying to create the perfect merchandise and the perfect lighting, and I'm spending so much energy trying to do this. And this is for total strangers. You know what I'm saying? And I love them. I'm grateful for them. They have given me a career beyond my wildest dreams. But why isn't it my first initial thought to take that back into my house? Does that make sense? The thought processes we put towards, you know, I don't know, like I've heard so many people, and this is not a toot of my own horn, but there's so many people that are like, you know, Thomas Rhett's the nicest guy in country music. Or there's so many artist buddies of mine that are just like, oh, well, when I'm in a bind, I call that dude. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, maybe I am that externally, but am I being that at home? You know what I mean? Like,
is that what you were asking me when it stopped?
I mean, kinda, but it's like, you know, if I were to ask the general population what their view of me is, I could probably guess that answer. But then it's like, what would my wife say about me? What would my kids say about me? Is that the same person, I guess, is the thing. And I try for it to be. You know what I'm saying? But it's like the public effacing part of all of these things. And it's like, I think that's why it's so hard for me to say, am I a great dad? Because if you look at my Instagram page, I am. You know what I mean? Like any interview that I do with any radio station, streaming service, whatever it is, it's like, so you're just the greatest dad in the world, dude. Like you do, like your Easter looks so awesome and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, yeah, you didn't see the 30 seconds before that picture was taken. You know what I'm saying?
When things were melting down.
When things were melting down.
Not responding the way you wanted to.
And I think that I have even gotten roped into this whole thing of, like, you know, even 10 years ago, it's like Thomas, Rhett, and Lauren are couple goals, their marriage goals, their family goals, they're all these things. And so you build this, like, framework about yourself because of what the general population says who you are. But they really don't know you.
Right.
They just think that they know you based off of the things that you have done and said and posted and all the stuff. And you hope that is true. I know that it is true. But there's too many times where, like, man, being married is hard. Being a father is hard. You know what I'm saying? And I think sometimes we make it look, not by we, I mean the general population, we make our lives look so dreamy and all this kind of stuff, but, like, really no one actually has any idea what's going on, like, inside the walls. You know what I'm saying?
This show has been a little vulnerable because when I set it up, I was like, all right, I'm going to put my cards on the table. And that's going to make me vulnerable because often I make my living off of concepts people build a perception around because of what I represent and what I study, and, you know, some of the benefit that my team has added to people's lives, that they must think I have every tool that we know about really dialed in.
Yeah.
And so I think pastors struggle with it, anybody that has a public perception, because you have been willing to put your morals and values out on the table publicly for people. And so and now you're trying to, how do I live up to that? And in this perception, people have accelerated. They didn't just create it, they've accelerated it. And all I would say is I think there's an opportunity there for both of us, but specifically for you to have an AJ dugout moment for yourself.
Yeah.
It's not the outcome. It's, hey, reward the try.
Totally. You get to hit again.
You get to hit again.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I can say, and I almost did this earlier, but I could tell you and I were both so uncomfortable with doing that I was like, well, let's just move, you know, we don't make it any more uncomfortable than it is. But often we'll do this in an onsite setting as well. When somebody gets to a part where they move through awkward and they lean into courage and say something that's not easy to say, then we'll flip it over to the person that just mirrored that and say, add to it.
Sure.
And both of us could have done that with ease.
That's good.
You could have easily given me a couple of things you see me a parent. And I probably would have given you some of what you just described as the public perception that you kind of like, yeah, but you don't know the whole thing. Yeah. And that's when I realized the brilliant moment where you go to the dugout after a strikeout is exactly what most dads need.
Sure.
Over and over and over again. Yep. Most of us need grace.
100%.
More than we need advice.
Especially with our own selves. To be able to give ourselves the grace. You know what I mean?
Where do you think, because it's interesting for me to think, but where do you think, because you just said, man, if people don't often see it, and sometimes Although I do think people look at you that way, and I think you've earned your reputation
For sure.
I think it's
Yeah.
part, it's. I would affirm that you're the most normal country star, music artist I know.
I received that.
And
Yeah.
there's a couple other guys like that too. You would know them. That I don't think of you that way. And then all of a sudden we're sitting around a fire, and even when you pick up a guitar and you're singing one of your gazillion hits, 25 number ones or whatever, I still don't think of you that way.
Right.
Because you're putting out a normal campfire sitting around a guy. It's almost like you're singing somebody else's song.
For sure.
Like this alter egos on the radio.
Yeah.
Dude, that is rare air.
Right.
That's hard to do. And it's something I think, it's a pair of shoes I think you should step into and be a little proud of.
Yeah.
And I would say I should mirror a moment. I should be like, you've built a good reputation for showing up in this town for people when they needed second chances. And did I do it perfect every time? Have I messed up? Absolutely. I will do that again.
Yeah.
But I think we got to reward our try. And if there's anything that comes out of this conversation, I didn't know where we'd go today, but I would say there's a whole lot of people right now that I think are being hypercritical on themselves because all we see is 100 ways in every direction that we're getting it wrong or not doing enough.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the one thing I think we want the people we influence, whether you're a parent or a teacher or a friend, the people we hope to influence, I think if we could just give them a little bit of relief and a little bit of belief that they're enough.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think we're ever going to have a problem, and it could, to where our ego gets so far in front of us that we stop working on ourselves.
I agree. I hope not.
Yeah, I do too.
I hope not. And I think to sort of circle back to that, the point that I was trying to make with you is like, I read some kind of stat the other day of just like why so many, pastors' children sort of like walk away from the faith. And it goes back to that quote that I was telling you about. And it's like when you as a kid like watch, your parent meet the needs of a congregation first, or meet the needs of, in my opinion, meet the needs of an audience first, or meet the needs of this, or for you to, to super hone in on, all the people that you're helping at Onsite, but there's nothing left when you get back to the house. Your kids don't really care all the other people that you've helped. I mean, that they think it's sweet and cool and kind, but if they didn't receive that same bit of encouragement and thought, then what do they think of you? That really is the most important.
I've done it.
Yeah.
That's what I was describing. I said the last 2 years I was just gone too much.
Yeah.
And I noticed that the words were the same. I still had some really great things to say, some savvy things when and I almost turned it up. The way I justified it was like, when I am there, I'm going to be more present than I've ever been before.
That's right.
I'm going to make the time count, which I think is an important, it's a good tool. But I realized it was just the time.
For sure.
They just needed time.
They just needed time.
The in-between moments where I didn't have anything flashy to say or the right parenting tool. They just needed my presence, which is one of the hardest things to do when you're out trying to make a living.
That's right.
Which is be there for your kids.
100%.
Do you feel, is there a part of you, because there's so much of you that's public, you and Lauren both, but is there a part of you that feels misunderstood?
You mean like from a public perception?
Yeah.
No, I don't feel misunderstood. I think it's more so knowing, like what you just said about, I've never really think of you as a celebrity. I don't think of me as a celebrity. You know what I'm saying? But the problem is like when you go into these high pressure environments, you kind of have to pretend that you are, even though you are one. You know what I'm saying? There is a switch that flips to where the guy, sitting at duck camp playing acoustic guitar, I would say that is me. You know what I'm saying? But like I feel like when I step on stage, I try to be as much me as possible. But there's also like this level of like, I don't know, this level of like, you got to look the A-lister part. You got to look the headliner part. You got to, you're a dad, but you got to look fit and you got to look good and you got to do all these things. And it's just like, man, but that's not how I am at all at home. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I went to a function last week and I don't even own a suit that's normal. The only suits I own have rhinestones on them. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I had to go to freaking J. Crew and get a normal wedding suit. You know what I'm saying? Like I would say that I'm a very normal person. And I think that's the toughest part of my job is like, I don't want to make that a switch anymore. Does that make sense? Like I want to know my gifts. I want to know my talents so that I can drown out this noise that you aren't enough, because I think I am enough. I've made it to a point where the population has spoken and said, we think you're pretty good at this. You know what I'm saying? I just think I have to get to a point where I believe it. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that I fake my way through my career, because it is very genuine, but it is a thing where every time I walk on stage, I'm like, do I deserve to be here? Like, am I supposed to be here? Like, would they rather just have seen the opener and then gone home? Like, do I even need to like give them what I have? And the answer is yes. You know what I'm saying? And I think, man, that's just like continually reminding yourself that you are the way that you are because of the things that you've been through in your past. But that does not mean that you have to stay that way until you die.
Well, and I'll say, I've been to quite a few of your shows, and especially I think 2 or 3 years ago, I was out with you a handful of times, and I think what I received in that moment, it's a very joy-filled, fun show. It's a fun show, but you also do some segues and you set up some things, and it's often in your music where it's very vulnerable, and you talk about that. You can feel that. You don't feel an expert. You don't feel I know you've got your 10,000 hours and you can put on a show and hold your own with anybody. You can own a stage. I've seen you embody it. I've seen you crush it. But you don't, you can feel, how would I describe it? The same way you described you show up on stage, I think is the way a lot of us show up to your concerts. It's like, are we really there? Is there still some part of us that's undone?
For sure.
And then we get to all have an experience together. And I think you kind of take people to quote unquote church in a way. And, and I think that's your gifting.
That's good.
There's part of me that I hope
Thanks,
you never
Miles.
fully, close that
100%.
door. There's a buzz about this, the soccer, Geodis, I'll say it wrong.
Yeah, Geodis Park.
Geodis, beautiful stadium. But you've got one coming up there, right? There's already a huge buzz in my circles about that. And these are people who know you as the normal guy who've been there. We're all excited
for sure
that you're playing your hometown.
Yeah.
And I know it's one of the hardest shows to play, hardest tickets to sell often.
Yeah.
But that's why people are drawn to you, is not the perfect version.
That's right.
It's the version that's humble enough to say, I am on the way and I probably always will be.
Always will be.
That's your gift. If anything, it's a superpower.
Yeah, man.
And I think guys like me and you and anybody that's listening, it's a constant set of repair and reframe. You notice several times where you've helped walk me into a corner that I've been like, well, there's actually some nuance to that.
Sure.
And if we looked at it this way, and one of my favorite things is we get together, and you said it when we first started, you said, we've never not had an interesting or deep conversation. It usually always goes, phew.
Yeah.
And it's usually because you always set the tone. You're like, man, here's some things I'm cooking on in my life. Some that are going well and some I'd really like to get your thoughts on. And then I'll do the same. I'll flip it. And I hope you never lose that gear. I hope we never lose that gear to be able to turn over the rocks over here and take a look over here. But I've noticed in the last year or two, like we were at a hunting trip not too long ago, a few months ago in Louisiana, I think. And we were talking, we got in a car and got to talking. And I didn't give you advice, but my experience in that moment was not to tell you to think differently about something. It was to invite you to not think as much about it. Do you remember that?
Yes.
To help you kind of turn that off or turn the volume down a little bit. Because again, I think a lot of our superpowers, our ability to critically think and move and nuance and pattern recognition. And that was me saying it to myself. Often I've got to slow down and turn it down, or else I'm going to miss the reframe.
That's right.
Which is like, you know what? I'm a provider, and that's a big deal. And maybe that's enough. Yeah. For today, it certainly is.
For sure.
What are you? I know you've been in the studio recently.
Yeah.
And but you've got, let's see, was it your last one was in 24, but you've been working on some new stuff, and I know you've just had, which I love Jordan. He's one of my favorite people. I actually love that song. It was a little bit of, what was Travis Tritt's big song? It's a Great Day to Be Alive.
Oh, 100%.
It feels like that.
Yeah, for sure.
I listened to it on the way in. I jammed it on the way in this morning, and it's just a song about gratitude.
Yeah, it is.
Not taking things for granted. And I love that you're peppering and teasing us with some of your stuff but I can't wait to see what you're cooking on album-wise. Can you allude to any of what you've been writing? And
I guess I've been writing for about a year and a half for this new project, and it's a little, I would say, I mean, there's still a bunch of fun tunes on this project, but it's a little heavier, I would say, content-wise. But from like a musicality standpoint, my buddy Julian Bonetta is producing this record, and we went and cut it like a band, which I have not done since 2012.
I mean, your band's playing on it.
Some of my band is playing on
No
it.
way.
But what I mean by that is like there was no like we just started from scratch. And a lot of the time in Nashville today, if you have a great demo, you'll just take pieces from the demo and sort of add to the demo and make it better. And we just kind of said, man, like I played acoustic, I played drums on some of the stuff. It is by far the most like organic album I've ever made, and I say this about every record, and I hope I say this till the day that I'm done doing this. But it is by far my favorite record that I think I'm making. So, yeah, it's a very very TR record. A lot of different sounds, a lot of different kind of genres blended into one. But it was written with a lot of intention and with a lot of thought, rather than I think just chasing this like what's the hit. Because I feel like I've lived a lot of my career being like, well, do we have the hit yet? And then I finally had to ask myself the question, like, what is a hit in 2026? You know what I mean? Is it a number one on the radio? Is it a song that streams 500 million times? Like, what is a hit now? Did it go viral on TikTok? Is it trending on Instagram? Like, there's so many ways to determine a hit. And I think that for me on this project, it's like, is it going to resonate with someone's soul? I do a lot of counseling. Can you tell? I had a guy tell me one time, he's like, you have to start having multiple bottom lines for what your version of success is. And I love this, and it's really hard for me to do. But like 5 years ago, me would have said that the only version of success when a record comes out is that it sells every show out and that the album sold a gajillion records. Like that would have been the version of success, right? And so he said, well, let's take that. Okay, that's one lane. That's great. Now give me 4 more that if that didn't happen, how can you put your head on your pillow at night and say, well done? Does that make sense? And so for me, and I have to remind myself that I believe this every day, because if I slip into a different version of myself, I can easily go to negativity. But let's just take shows, for example, whereas 5 years ago, me would have only viewed success as there is not one single ticket left. I've reframed that into, okay, I know that God put the right people at this show tonight, and there is no reason that they deserve an 80% version of me. They get a 100% version of me. Even though it's not as many people as I wish had been there, I still have the same opportunity I did if it was slam packed. There just might be a couple thousand less people. If I get to bring joy to one person that night, like if I get to actually watch someone look at me and smile, or like hold up a sign and say, this is my first concert, I have to take that as my version of success for the evening. And I have to remind myself of that all day long, that when I go to bed at night, I go, no, it was not sold out. No, we did not have a record-breaking evening in merch. And no to this and this and this, but this did happen. Therefore, it was a success for me. I don't even know how I got there. I just wanted to throw that in.
I want to say this though, because I'm relating to it. I have to do the same thing, because at the end of the day, where I spend my vocation, there is a business element to it, and no money, no mission.
Yeah,
and so I have to pay attention to the metrics and the P&Ls and the dot, and we ebb and flow based on the services we're providing and what's happening. I've got a lot of overhead and a lot of expense. I try to offer a really great service. And I can get pretty attached to that outcome as a determining factor. And sometimes I do forget that there's a human being in front of me, even if there's only one human being in front of me. And let's say my workshops aren't full this week. How do I show up for the person directly in front of me? Really, really well. That's what I heard you were trying to reframe and trying to do. And
exactly.
I think to me, I love that I can't pin you down as an artist. To me, that's what's fun about following your artistry is you might do something that feels poppy, you might do something hardcore country and everything in between. And art to me shouldn't have an agenda.
Sure.
And I realize the business and the metrics around it often try to squeeze it into a formula that works.
Yeah.
And I know you know the formulas, you've been around long enough to do all that, but you kind of buck the formula.
Sure.
And to me, I think that probably makes it more fun.
It does.
And probably more sustainable.
Yeah, it does.
Even when it might push against the success of it.
100%.
Like, I'm going to go a little bit this way, and it might affect the success. Success is such an interesting marker.
Totally. And I've had my, I guess what I would call them, like my renegade years. Those are the most fun years of my life when, it's so funny you were talking about the throwing the rock into the river, like naming it anxiety or whatever. I remember my first trip to Onsite. I did that. And I remember it was my second album that came out, and that was when, Die Happy Man came out, and Crash and Burn and songs like that really kind of made me a lane in this format. But I remember that record was all over the place. There was Die Happy Man and Crash and Burn alone are two.
Oh my gosh,
they just did this with each other. There was no resemblance of Sonic's. Like, is this the same guy that sings this song? And the rest of the record was that way. And I remember that was the year like Instagram was like really starting to become a thing, and people, people's opinions were just just getting meaner and darker and more hateful. And I had never really experienced much of that. I just kind of had my Instagram and, posted pictures of whatever. And then that, that in particular year is when it started to like really take over our format. And I remember when that record came out, I'll never forget laying in my bed on the bus and just the amount of comments that were just like, "You're ruining country music. We hate you. You should just, I bet your dad would be so unproud of this record." Like I can't unsee the comments. Right. And I just went into a freaking, just full on panic. I'm also having the most success I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
But I can't put this to the side. And I remember my last day at Onsite, they made me, there was like one in particular Instagram handle that just railed me every day online. I literally, like, my wife was with me and I wrote his Instagram handle on this rock and I chunked it into the river. Isn't that hilarious?
Wow.
And it didn't really help much. It has now. Like I still think about that moment now, and it's taken me 7, 8, 9 years to like fully sort of, okay, you know what I mean? And I can honestly say now that like no one wants to be hated or ridiculed. But I don't find my worth, or do I still love my record because of comments anymore? And so I think it's great you're doing that with your kids, because there's something about the symbolism of sort of taking hatred or anxiety and as something as sort of simple as writing on a rock and chunking it in the river. It's just kind of like it's an active way of saying you don't have control over me anymore. Like you don't get to speak into that part of me that I think is super beneficial for men, as dumb as men may think that is. It really helped me. So. Get a rock.
Yeah, let go of a rock. Let go of a rock.
Let go of a rock. Yeah.
Well, I do think, you talked earlier about coaches too, about how important that can be, good or bad.
For sure.
Something else we do that some people, and I usually don't get into the context of some of the things we do with therapeutic tools or change tools at Onsite, because out of context, they seem a little weird.
Yeah.
Like you tossing a rock into the water.
Yeah.
Until you realize that it really wasn't meant to make an immediate change.
For sure.
It was meant to plant a seed.
That's right.
That you'd water, and then you wake up one day and the harvest is there, where it's like, these comments don't hurt as much as they used to.
That's right.
They still hurt.
Yeah.
Still human. They don't hurt as much as they used to.
Sure.
Another thing we do in that coach lane is often if we're going to go excavate certain parts of our story, it's very important that we do it with unconditional love as wind behind our sails.
Sure.
And often we don't have the strength to carry that into our past. And so we'll identify and try to assign somebody in our history that what we'd call like an angel, like a person that was an angel in our life at some point. What's fascinating is that it's often not who you think it was. It's usually it's an easy mom or dad.
Yeah.
But it was the coach, or it was the English teacher, or it was and it's not that mom and dad didn't get it right.
Sure.
It's just, it was back to, well, they're food, water, shelter, they're providers. That's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But man, there was this one time where I was feeling this social pressure, feeling completely lost. Self-esteem was in the gutter. And I got seen by a teacher at the right time.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we'll say, okay, let's bring that person into the room. And let's say they're going to walk with you on that journey. And then we'll flip to them at one point and say, what would they say right now?
Yeah, for sure.
And it's really powerful. So I would say, older, wiser TR, looking back to younger TR, maybe at that season, or pre-dad moments. What kind of wisdom do you say back to that part now?
Gosh. I don't know. I feel like there's so many things. I'm feeling that awkward thing again. If 36-year-old TR could go back and talk to, I guess that would have been 25-year-old TR, so a decade ago. I don't know, like the things that you're experiencing right now. are not your identity. I don't know. Because I think, pre-kid and you're kind of just married, like you become sort of what you do. You know what I mean? Like you are Thomas Rhett, the singer. Like you are a singer, you're an entertainer, but I don't think that 25-year-old TR would have thought he would have had 5 kids in 10 years. And I think kids have such a funny way of like really, really humbling you. They are the most incredible gift on the planet. But if you want to be humbled really fast, have a lot of kids. Because the ego and the things that you feel like you are and the cool things that you get to do, they don't matter to them, And so when you walk in the door and you're immediately met by, "Hey, Dad, make me a sandwich." You know what I mean? And you're sitting there going, "How many people I just played to this weekend?" They're like, "Don't care. Make me a sandwich." You know what I mean? It's like you immediately sort of understand who you are first and foremost. And so like, whereas 10 years ago, TR would have been like, for sure, career first. I think that those priority lists have sort of done like a flip-flop, like in 10 years. And I would say that being a father first, being a father and a husband first, I don't know that 25-year-old TR would have fully understood that. And I think I had to go through some pretty intense moments of, a little bit of pain and some sorrow to like fully sort of shed that part of me off, to be able to fully kind of grow into the person that I am today. And I feel like I just answered that question so poorly. Because there is not just one thing I could go back and tell that person. I would have to spend a day with that guy. I'd have to spend a week with that guy.
2 things can be true.
Yeah.
You may feel like you summarized 10 years and didn't give near enough. And I feel like and I'm 10 years ahead of you.
Yeah.
So if I were to go back 20 years, I'd probably say the same thing 20 years ago to I do 10 years ago. And I bet you 10 years from now, I'll say the same thing, which is exactly what you said.
Really?
Yeah. And often it's the wisdom is in the small things, which
for sure.
It's a gentle reminder that you are not what you do. There is something greater than you that loves you unconditionally, and you're enough where you are. And I can say that with confidence with you, and I would say it to confidence with anybody out there listening, because that's usually the start of growth, change, and healing. Totally. Right there is we've got to plant a seed of belief, and sometimes that's looking back, and sometimes it's going forward.
Yeah.
Well, you've been super generous with time. I could hang with you all day. I wish we were going fishing or golfing after this, but we will someday when life lets up a little bit.
Sure.
But I want you to hear this too. No matter what layer I'm in, I don't have expectation.
Yeah.
Because I know I could call you at any point, and if I was in a bind, I know you'd help me.
100%.
I just who you are. And if you could do that for the thousands of people that are quote unquote fans or that follow your art, you'd do it for all of them too.
For sure.
I just know that's who you are at your core. It's one of the reasons you're one of my favorite people is because you're always on the hunt of trying to grow spiritually and grow emotionally.
Yeah.
I do think as your friend, you give yourself way too hard of a time about that process. And if there was anything I would encourage you on, I'll always encourage you on, is you have arrived. You are where you are. You've earned your way here. And I hope you live in a little bit more grace and walk a little bit lighter with your own process.
Me too.
And I'll commit to trying to do the same.
Come on.
Because I'm looking at a little bit younger version of exactly what I do. It's the gift and the burden. Last question I'll ask you, unless you've got anything you want to share that you haven't yet, is I haven't even asked you about Brave. We're a few weeks into that. I'm sure everybody's asking you about Brave. By the way, I adore the name.
Yeah.
But maybe you can answer both in one about Brave. But let's say Brave and your girls 20, 30 years from now, somebody's talking to one of them and they say, tell me about your dad.
Yeah.
What are you most proud of about your dad?
Yeah.
Another one is probably going to be awkward to answer because I know I'm asking you to talk about yourself.
Gosh, dude, this is like being asked, what do you hope people share about you at your funeral? You know, I was thinking about that too the other day. It's like, you really are what people share about you at your funeral. You ever thought about that?
Whoa.
my stepdad's father passed away a couple weeks ago, and we were at the funeral. I haven't been to a funeral in like a decade, it seems, which I feel like I'm lucky to say that. But there's this like haunting feeling of watching sort of, someone get lowered into the ground, because in the most non-morbid way in the world, that's genuinely where we're all headed.
Yeah.
At some point, And I was just thinking about like my stepdad's father was a pastor for 50 years, did not miss a Sunday, But I think beyond that, like the things that were shared about him, like, yeah, there were some nice moments about him being a pastor, but it really was that he was a great friend, and he was a great father, and he laughed a lot, and he loved a lot. And so it's like, when you think about what you want your kids to say in 20 or 30 years, it kind of is similar to that moment of what do you hope your family says about you the day that you pass. But I would say for me, man, but because I do have the opportunity to do it now, I really hope that they say my dad, he wasn't at everything, but the things that he was at, he was really there. You know what I'm saying?
My dad was there.
My dad was there. Yeah. My dad would do anything for me. My dad was never shocked by my mistakes. That's a big one for me.
That's huge.
But yeah, I would say mostly that he was there. Yeah.
Well, and I want to say that for all of you out there that have listened to this conversation, thank you for hanging with us, by the way. I was hopeful, and this has probably been my favorite one. We've had a lot of great conversations, and I knew I'd be talking to people in my lane that are kind of quote unquote experts. You quoted some today, and I knew I'd be talking to friends. But to me, I believe when people get here and they are 100% authentic with where they are in their story, I'm invited into this belief that if they can make an effort to grow, change, and heal and be the best version of themselves as a father, as a friend, as a husband, then I can do the same thing.
For sure.
And I can say, buddy, you do that really well.
Thanks, man.
You chase congruence really well. And it's as evidence of how you showed up today. You didn't show up like this perfectly packaged guy that had all the right things to say. You dropped a ton of wisdom. I was over here thinking, because I can hear often now on long form podcasts, people watch clips more than they do podcasts. And so my team is always behind me, and they've got this little pen that they click when they're writing something down. Right. I could hear him click in the first hour. So I was like, what do we even clip? You drop a lot of wisdom, but again, you do it in such a human way. And I think that's what people experience when they listen to your music. I think that's what people experience when they go see you at your shows. And how many shows are you doing this year? It's not a ton, is it? Like 25 or 30?
40-ish?
22 headline, and then
okay.
support stuff. So yeah, about 30.
About 30 shows? Yeah, so not far off.
Yeah.
From somebody who's been quite a few times, I'm earnestly saying this. I'm not, because as I said, my agenda is not to come and let me help you sell some tickets. I'm genuinely saying it's one of the best experiences I have.
I appreciate
because
that.
I'm up there experiencing a guy who feels so approachable and so normal, which is rare to do as an artist.
For sure.
So yeah, we can improve a lot. We've identified that today.
Yeah.
But you've done a lot of great things in this world, and I can't wait to see what's next for you, especially with raising these babies.
100%.
And doing all the things that are going to continue on. The career is going to be the career, but I couldn't be more proud of you. And I'm glad you shared some of your wisdom and encouragement and strength.
Well, hey, likewise, dude. Thank you. I haven't been on many podcasts in my life, so thanks for opening my window to this. And I'm sorry that it took a year to get here, but I'm very grateful for you as a friend and all of the ways that you have genuinely poured into me and Lauren's life. There's so many moments, even in my family, where I'm just like, well, I remember when Miles said this to us, and Miles introduced us to this person, and you're a master connector. I don't know if you know that or not, but you have a great gift of connecting people, and I do believe that that's a gift. And there's so many people that I've met because of you that I'm better for it because of that. So, thanks for having me on here, and yeah.
That we didn't even talk about Lauren, which I didn't mean to not do that, but I adore.
That'll be all the comments.
Well, I adore you. Well, the reason, so I saw recently Annie, I love Annie. She's one of my dear friends.
Annie Downs.
She was a guest on the show, and I know you guys just were a couple. And I was like, oh, I should have done the couple, but I thought I could talk to Lauren for 3 hours alone.
Oh, 100%.
So I want to, hopefully I'll get her as a guest at some point too, because we got a lot to talk about. But
for sure.
There's some really funny stories about she and I and horses, and then you getting in the picture and then trying to get my wife.
That's one hobby that I have been roped into.
Yeah.
I did not choose the horse hobby, but I'm in the horse game. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was a delight to be with you, buddy.
yeah, you too, buddy.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That's Human School. Keep showing up, keep getting honest. If you liked this episode and if it was beneficial, if you don't mind leaving us a review, that would really help us get more eyes and ears on our episode so we can encourage more people. I'm Miles Ed Cox, and I'll see you next time.